Hi guys, it's Dr. Salcedo, your conscious gynecologist. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're going to be talking about something that I've been noticing a lot on recently these low carb and carnivore motherhood forums that I belong to on Facebook. These food aversions and what is the problem with nausea and heartburn and vomiting at times and major food aversions during the first trimester of pregnancy. And what is the biologic function of this? Let's get to it. So, there are two major biologic reasons why some women have a strong food aversions to coffee, to meat, certain foods in pregnancy. Now, among women who are maintaining a low carb or carnivore lifestyle, and then they become pregnant because it's really easy to get pregnant when you're on these lifestyles because it keeps your insulin level really low. In the first trimester of pregnancy, those first 12 to 14 weeks, it's actually really hard to maintain a major low carb lifestyle because a lot of women who are on low carb lifestyle rely on animal protein or meat. Now, it's actually a biologic adaptation that women are have this aversion to meat. There's two reasons why. We're going to get to it. The first reason why is food poisoning and avoidance of carcinogens. Now, I will tell you that it really only has been in the last 60, 70 years that we've been able to store and preserve meat in a refrigerator without worrying too much about food poisoning. Before then, that was a major problem that would happen for the last thousands of years while women since humanity has been eating meat. But pregnant women in the first trimester have a lower immune system in order to maintain the pregnancy so that our own immune system doesn't try to attack our pregnancy, our conceptus. And so, as such, we have a really high chance of getting food poisoning, particularly in the first trimester. Over the last several thousand years, our body has actually created this strong aversion to avoid meat in the first trimester because your body just doesn't really want you to get food poisoning, and that's a real thing. And so, if you're like, man, I just loved meat before, and now I can't really eat it, I can't even stand the smell of it, that's a biologic adaptation that has been created to protect you, and it's normal and will pass over time. Now, the other thing goes for the same thing for coffee or anything that's roasted. So remember, anything roasted does, according to some studies, have a little higher chance of placing someone at risk for cancer in the future. And there's all kinds of different studies about this. But when something is roasted, like coffee, or when meat is roasted over an open flame, like our ancestors used to do, there are pieces of char on the meat. And anything with char is actually considered something that can place rapidly generating cells at risk for DNA damage. And when do you want to avoid that? Well, in the first trimester, when cells are rapidly developing, the DNA is rapidly replicating in order to create your conceptus, your baby. That's why we have these strong aversions to roasted things, particularly in the first trimester, because your body's trying to protect itself from any chemicals or carcinogens that could actually put the fetus at risk for any birth defects. And so this is really common. So I hear it all the time. It actually happened to me myself, and I love coffee, but I had crazy aversions to meat, particularly red meat. It's a biologic adaptation. It should get better in the second and third trimesters. Now, the second reason why women have strong food aversions in the first trimester is to really keep our sugar levels down. Now, like, why would your body want that to happen? Well, the fetus in the first trimester still doesn't have a pancreas yet. And so if it doesn't have a pancreas, then the fetus can't control its own blood sugar. So it relies heavily on mom's pancreas to keep blood sugars at the normal range. Now, insulin doesn't cross the placenta. And so, as such, we really need to maintain low glucose levels, low to normal glucose levels, so that the baby gets a steady stream of glucose and not big highs or spikes that could actually cause body inflammation and inflammation at the neurologic development level of the baby. And so that's really important. Plus, the baby really relies on ketones in the first trimester, particularly for neurologic development of the brain. And so that's a biologic adaptation that's actually quite normal. And there's lots of evolutionary biology and anthropologic research that supports this. I'll go ahead and put some of the papers on my show notes so that you can take a look at them. But we're in this era of highly processed food, ultra processed food, where there's these giant spikes of glucose and fructose and insulin in our body. And we really don't know what those giant spikes can do to a developing fetus. And so we really do want to make sure that we avoid highly sugary things, high carbohydrate things, and to keep our blood sugar levels really stable. Now, the important thing in the first trimester of pregnancy is to stay hydrated, add lots of electrolytes. And if you don't feel like eating, don't worry about it. I tell my patients to eat small portions and just to eat what feels right. Light fruit, maybe, avoid soda, processed foods, things that come in a box, and just don't feel guilty about, that you're not eating very much, because really, if you're staying hydrated with your electrolytes, your body, a woman's body, has been able to handle that in the first trimester, because this is really a biologic adaptation and it's not really considered an illness because of these aversions. It's actually a way to protect you. Now, some women even lose a few pounds in the beginning, or if they were overweight when they started the pregnancy, that sometimes can happen. But just touch base with your doctor and make sure you ride the wave. It does get better in the second and third trimester. And the reassuring thing is that nausea, vomiting, and food aversions in pregnancy are common and they're expected to pass. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and like the video, subscribe. It actually really helps the algorithm so that other women can access this vital information. Have a great day.